Sabin.
Thank you, sir. That was a stunning contribution, I have to say. Look, sir, I honestly believe that people have been making up their minds about this election, this coming election, which I think will probably be the most significant election in a generation for a number of reasons. But I think people have been making up their minds over the last year or so, sir. There might be a few votes here or there as we get closer to the election and the noise increases, but actually I think people have been sitting back and living their lives, and what it will come down to for them is the direction that the country is heading in. I think it's as simple as that. Do I, as a New Zealander, feel as if this country is heading in the wrong direction or the right direction? Sir, and if people believe it's heading in the right direction, and we know from recent articles in the New Zealand Herald and a number of other media commentaries that 60, 70%, 75% of the country believe the country is heading in the right direction. So the next question then becomes, do I have trust and confidence that that direction can be maintained? Sir, so I actually think we can stand here and bluster and carry on as we do in this House, but out there in the real world, the people that we are here to serve, I think it boils down to those two things. Is the country heading in the right direction, and can I trust the leadership to continue that direction? And on both those counts, sir, I know why that is the opposition is worried. Because on both those counts, they believe that the National-led government is the answer. That's right. Sir, and then we look at the Labour Party, and today, as opposition parties will do, they will try and launch an alternative. So they've decided all of a sudden they've got this new vision of what will resonate with the New Zealand public, that it's not all about the Beltway. Actually, that seldom resonates with people out there in the real world, in my view. But they've now suddenly decided that they've got an alternative sort of financial policy position that they will take that will lead to the promised land. There's a couple of issues with that I have, sir. One, the fact that it's a sort of back-to-the-future tax and spend approach. Nothing that they've been doing is working, so let's go back to what did work and give that a go. And what we do know is that when it was last working for Labour, during the 9 years of the last Labour government, it was a fair-weather sailing situation, sir. And they are a party who know how to sail well in fair weather. The reality is, though, sir, what this country has faced and what political leaders have faced and business leaders have faced and what families have faced in this country over the last 5 or so years has been very, very stormy weather, unprecedented, the perfect storm, sir, if you actually look at it in that sense. And so in many respects, sir, the reason that what the Labour Party is saying is not resonating with New Zealanders, when they say, we returned 9 surpluses, that's all well and good when it's fair weather sailing. But when the storm hits, sir, I would put it to you that New Zealanders actually understand that that's not good enough. And why is that? Because New Zealanders, government isn't the answer. Government simply resources community to go about doing its best to create the opportunities, to create the jobs through the right economic conditions, through the right policy direction. We just enable. We don't provide the answers, we just enable. And sir, that's the problem. The Labour Party has this crisis of thinking that because they delivered 9 surpluses during the fair weather years, that New Zealanders will think that they can do it now. And they actually don't. They actually don't. They'd be telling us that by now. So and the other issue that I think the Labour Party has is one of an identity crisis. Because New Zealanders, they might not be completely politically engaged, what the Grant Robertsons of this world believe is important, but they're quite savvy. They get a sense of it. And the sense they have is that for Labour to be able to form a government, they've actually got to cobble together and bolt on a whole lot of pieces that actually don't make sense in themselves. They don't actually make sense. They don't make a complete picture. And one of the challenges they have in their identity crisis is the Green Party. Because the Green Party is a political equivalent to that kind of weird uncle that always turns up at Christmas time and makes everyone feel a bit uncomfortable because he's a bit freaky. He doesn't quite fit in this place. And that's the identity crisis here, because the public realise for the Labour Party to be able to be in government, they've got to bring the weird uncle into the equation. And actually, New Zealanders don't want the weird uncle. So, sir, what I see is 2 things that New Zealanders will determine this election on. I believe they've already done it. Are we heading in the right direction? And can National continue that direction? And we can.
Very good. You can have the weird uncle.
Claire Curran.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, a Labour government will transform the New Zealand economy into a higher value